Greetings and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, January the 19th, 2024. Oh, swat, como se va? My name is Drew, and I am here to discuss the NFL with one of the best people walking the face of the earth. I tell you, my man, before we talk about the divisional rounds this evening, real quick for the audience and a heartfelt welcome to the entire RoundTable audience and crew. Welcome to the divisional round, the biggest and the best as it pertains to football, historically, playoff weekend in the National Football League. And we're going to get into that here in a bit. But my man, me and Griff, my brother from another mother, as they would say, a brotherhood that was solidified through the blood of the covenant. For those of us that know what I'm talking about, we were reminiscing on our days way back when we were young whippersnappers serving this great nation of ours, and how many good days that we had with many of the people who are viewers and who are still able to get out there and pound that pavement when they need to. Brother Griff, man, the expertise that you bring is obviously undoubtedly one of the most informed that one can ask for. But how are we looking on the eve of the biggest weekend in the NFL?
Man, hey, I'm telling you right now, man, it's about to go. I've been looking forward to this, although it hadn't gone down the way I wanted it to go down because my boys ain't playing, man. I think we're going to have us some of probably the best football during the playoff season right now. With the Ravens playing against the Texans, the 49ers against Green Bay. I think all these games are going to be great games, and I'm looking forward to this weekend.
You and I both, man. But before we actually get into this weekend's games and talk about what we expect is going to happen, because each one of these 8 teams have a legitimate shot to make it to the Final Four, the NFC and the AFC title game next weekend. But before we even talk about that, let's talk about this thing called the coaching carousel. There are still a lot of teams that have vacancies in the head coaching office. Why is that when the season has been over for several weeks? We only have 8 teams left, or 8 teams who still have a game on their schedule. All of the future head coaches do not reside on either of those 8 teams, I don't think. So why has the greatest coach of all time in the National Football League, who stepped away from the New England Patriots, so it seemed like 10 months ago, why hasn't he found a job yet is the question. I know he interviewed for the Falcons job. Do you think it's just Bill taking his time, or is it the lack of interest from teams and they want to go younger and not turn the keys to the kingdom to a 70-year-old man? What do you think?
Hey, so first of all, I think it's probably the latter, what you just said, as far as, we playing in a football league now that's got a lot of young coaches. I will say that he got his second interview with Arthur Blank today. So don't know how that interview come out, but of all the people that the Falcons they interview, he's getting his second interview with them. So but I just think a lot of teams, as we say, he's the GOAT, one of the greatest to ever do it. And we base this off of people winning rings. Don't nobody have more rings than this guy right now that's in the league. But as we can see, sometimes people also say, you know what, this might be past his time. Yeah, maybe he might not be able to connect with those guys. I think he's still one of the most brilliant minds when it comes to the game. But that could be why some of the other teams might be somewhat hesitant. Is he just coming to coach because he's trying to get these 15 games so that he can break that record? Or is he coming, and is he going to be added value and take us to the promised land like he did in New England? That could be the question that some of the owners might be having.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good thing to touch on because he ran the show in New England for 20 plus years under Robert Kraft. Just do what you do, bring us the chips. And that's exactly what he and Tom Brady did, right? And since Tom Brady's departure, we saw that New England was not as good as they were, which was expected, right? Because you're bringing in a rookie quarterback and the young man out of Alabama, Mr. Mac Jones, who I said at the time was the epitome of a system quarterback and was not going to propel New England, even though that Cam came in there for a year and kind of went back and forth. That didn't work out. New England showed that Bill Parcells may have passed, or not Bill Parcells, I take that back. Bill Belichick in the front office, right, as the person who goes out there to figuratively buy the groceries and comes back and hands them over to the chef, who just so happens to be him too, to be able to prepare the meal. It seems like he needs to give up the buying the groceries portion of it and just work on cooking, meaning that the coaching, right, and be able to focus on not only getting those 15 wins to surpass Don Shula and become the winningest coach in NFL history, but actually ride out into the sunset in the way that he wants to ride out into the sunset 2 to 3 years from now, not only obtaining that record, but taking a team who could possibly be a struggling team and putting them on the right path. They're not looking for Bill Belichick to come in and be the savior. They're looking, if I am a owner of a team, I'm looking for Mr. Belichick to come in and to build a foundation that we can build off 3 years from now when he officially retires and steps away from the game after accomplishing everything that he wanted to accomplish, that we can build off of that. That is what New England has with Gerard Mayo. They're not worried about the future. The rest of those teams that are struggling, that's why they are going to hire him. They then go very young on the offensive coordinator side offensive coordinator side, because Bill Belichick is a defensive genius. So you don't really need somebody to come in and fix anybody's defense. So we'll see where he lands, man. We'll see where he lands. But he's definitely going to be on the sidelines in 2024, I believe. Yeah. The next coach that I would like to kind of touch on had his future up in the air was Mike Tomlin. Well, obviously, we all know now that he's made the decision to come back and fulfill his obligation for the final year of his contract. And we'll see what the future holds, right? I've already heard rumblings that they are working on an extension, so we'll see where that goes. You surprised that the Steeler Nation, some of them actually wanted Mike Tomlin to be gone?
No, I mean, you had those delusional fans that just think you're supposed to win all the time. And the Pittsburgh Steelers got a history of they coaches stay a while. They ain't that ownership hadn't been an ownership that, hey, you haven't produced for us and we're gonna get rid of you. You can almost count the coaches that the Steelers had on their hands. Them guys gonna been around. Mike Tomlin is a good coach, and like we said, man, based off of what he had to work with this year, the fact that he even made it to the playoffs was surprising. I mean, you were saying it all season. Mike ain't never had a losing season. He gonna figure it out. He had to get rid of his offensive coordinator during the season, which that's one of the things that they're gonna have to work on, getting them a new offensive coordinator. But I wasn't surprised that some of the Steelers people want to get rid of him. They, I don't call them real fans. The real fans, they know what he had to deal with. It ain't like the Saints fans, which you done had to deal with Pete Carmichael for 15 years, and Dennis Allen. Y'all got a legitimate argument, but you talking about a winner right here. You just don't get rid of a winner, and he still got a hold of that locker room.
Right, and you always hear the argument, right? I'm gonna make this comparison between Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick. You always hear the argument between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Was it Brady or was it Belichick, or was it a combination of both? You never hear that conversation. Was it Mike Tomlin or was it Ben Roethlisberger, or was it a combination of both? Mike Tomlin won with Ben Roethlisberger, and we've seen what he's done without Ben Roethlisberger, without any quarterback of worthiness for the past 3 years. He's never had a losing season for a record. It is the Mike Tomlin philosophy, the Mike Tomlin application of his philosophy, and the standard is the standard, and holding everybody to the standard while allowing them to embrace their entire selves, right? So if, like you said, he's able to create a very good product on the field without the requisite talent on offense, guess what he can do when he has the appropriate talent on offense? So the Steelers have to go all in and find a quarterback. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson.
Basketball.
I know, right? So the Steelers better be shopping for a quarterback. I know that press conference he had yesterday talking about our quarterback is in the building. No, he's not. He ain't on the roster, bro. No, that is one lie that you should have not said. He is not there. No. And every Pittsburgh fan can tell you that he is not in the locker room right now. But let's move on, man. To another coach that raised a whole lot of eyebrows come Monday morning. And a whole lot of people were talking that Mike McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning coach, a playoff winning coach, and someone who has done very well in Dallas for the past 3 years, averaging 12 wins per season. But they can't seem to win in January, it seems. People were calling for Mike McCarthy to get fired on Monday. Well, come Tuesday, nothing heard from Jerry Jones and the Jerry crew. Come Wednesday, nothing heard from Jerry Jones and the Jerry crew until late Wednesday evening, where you saw a press conference that said Mike is back. Man, what's going on up in Dallas? You happy with that?
I already knew he wasn't going nowhere. Don't nobody want. I'm just gonna keep it real, man. Don't nobody want to coach for Jerry Jones.
What?
I'm just keeping it real. You know, I think I sent you a video earlier. The guy broke it down. Really.
Yeah, Jerry that was Jones, a very good video. Good video.
And I've been saying it for a long time. You seen all these people burning up jerseys, punching their TVs. All them people that was burning up jerseys and punching their TVs, they're gonna go get some new cowboy gear. They're gonna go buy tickets to go to the game. And that's all Jerry Jones care about. Pride and ego is the reason why Mike McCarthy is there. Jerry Jones would not bring a Bill Belichick in because why? Bill Belichick, his name, his brand will overshadow Jerry Jones' brand. I knew Mike McCarthy wasn't going nowhere. I knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have been a surprise to some other people, but I knew he wasn't going nowhere.
Right. And America having that tag on Dallas for those that support and follow football as America's team, and the favoritism that has grown this organization, because it's not a football team, it's an organization, from being an NFL champion, Dallas Cowboys, 3 championships in 4 years in the mid-90s, from 92 to 95 or 91 to 95, under 2 different coaches, the foundation laid by Jimmy Johnson. The same concept that I said about Bill Belichick in the opening. After Tom Landry departed, Dallas needed a new foundation. Jimmy Johnson not only built the foundation, but took it to new heights to where he was getting ready to have a Bill Belichick 90s run. But the relationship between him and Jerry Jones just could not work because exactly what you said. Jerry did not want to give up total control. And he has shown and built over the past 29 years that y'all have been drugged in the media about not making another Super Bowl, to build a global entity to where the money comes above the winning.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because when you win more, you actually make more. But, enough. Got it. Mike McCarthy ain't going nowhere. Your defensive coach, is he going anywhere or is he staying?
You know what? Word on the street is he coming back. I don't see. I mean, his display in that last game against Green Bay, it kind of hurt his stock. But we'll see, man. I just know that we got other things we need to worry about. All right, you give me the finger like the lady in the church. Go ahead, man.
Point of order, sir. You just said that Dan Quinn's display in the last playoff game was atrocious. I do remember Zeke's last play as a Cowboy. And we said that about we said that about that offensive coordinator. Dan Quinn has shown that he's a regular season guy too, right? And what was the definition of insanity again? Let's run it back.
Same thing over and over again.
All right, man. Let's move on. Jim Harbaugh. Why hasn't Jim Harbaugh jumped to the NFL yet?
I think he's gonna be there. I think again they being methodical because he has some clauses in his Michigan contract, and so I foresee him going to the Chargers. If it's one team that I see him that he'll be a perfect fit with, but having Herbert down there and what they got, that nucleus that they got down there, that's why I see him going. I don't see him going back because he always wanted to get back to the NFL. The college, for me, when it came to Harbaugh, I think college was just that temporary thing. Now that he done climbed the mountaintop, got his national championship, he ain't got nothing to prove there. I would not be surprised if we see him on the Chargers sideline next season.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. He's accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, which was to have Michigan not only become a national powerhouse again, but beat Ohio State consistently and get a natty. He's done all of that. His dream has always been to come back to the NFL, get back to the Super Bowl, and close the deal, right? So now that he has his natty, he wants to be one of the very select few coaches that win both a national championship and an NFL Super Bowl title. And I think he's going to the Chargers, so I agree. Let's close the loop and put a bow tie on the question that we proposed Tuesday night. The biggest collapse of the season, was it the Dallas Cowboys or was it the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, go ahead.
I just want to throw this out there. I just want to say congratulations because Dan is on here. Congratulations to the Las Vegas Raiders. They went on and made their decision, and they went on and hired Pierce as to be their actual head coach. He no longer has the title of interim. So I just want to say congratulations to the Raider Nation. I think they got them a good coach.
I agree 1,000%. I'm pretty sure Antonio Pierce will now be able to put his imprint on that team now that he has job security and the support of the GM, because the GM was new as well, just hired within the past year, as well as the club president. So congratulations to the Raiders, Troy. Y'all got a good coach, so you have no excuses next year if you put up.
I don't think he on here right now. Because the chat would be loaded if he was on here. That is true.
That is true. All right, but to close the loop on the poll question that we have for Tuesday night between the Cowboys and the Eagles, which was the biggest disappointment, based on the feedback, right? Based on the feedback that I got, the majority of the people who shared their thoughts believe that the Eagles' collapse was worse than the Cowboys' one-game collapse, because the big argument was that this was a steady decline for the Philadelphia Eagles after starting off so hot, even though some of their wins were not blowout or impressive wins, as you would say. They did start off the year 10-1, and after 12 weeks had the best record in the National Football League. And then they precipitously began a 7-game skid that no team in the history of the National Football League has ever done. So I understand that reasoning. Now, Dallas had the best year in the division. They showed that they earned that number 2 seed and were competitive all the way until the last couple of weeks for the number 1 seed. They were a heavy favorite against a team that should not even been there. They allowed a team that came into their house and took their lunch money and their lunch and the new Android phone that their dad Griff bought them. So I'm just saying,
cold-blooded, man.
I can understand. I can understand either way.
Now, I agree with this, man. The Eagles had the biggest collapse. The Cowboys had they choked. It wasn't a collapse. But what the Eagles did, that especially when they had that 7-game slid, bro, when they had the easiest schedule the rest of the way out, and all they needed to do was win. They get that number 2 spot. Yeah, they had the biggest collapse.
Yes,
we don't need to talk about this no more, man.
You're absolutely correct.
Let's move on to what's going on this week.
We have put that to bed. All right, so the rest of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dedicate ourselves and our conversation about these 4 big games this weekend. Let us begin with the best team in the National Football League, the Baltimore Ravens. Sitting at home at M&T Bank Stadium, they're welcoming a very hot team coming in. We have said over and over, week after week, that C.J. Stroud looked very good. He looked well beyond his rookie tag. That DeMeco Ryan was not only the right fit for the Houston Texans, but has had an immediate impact, and it's most likely going to be the coach of the year. Hey, the time is now. All of the talking is done with. It's time to play some football. We are 18 hours away from kickoff in this game. It's going to be cold. Might be some snow on the ground. Will weather be a factor? Is C.J. Stroud actually prepared for the big-time moment so early in his career? What do you think, Griff?
I think, to answer that last question, I think he prepared for the big-time moment. Unfortunately, the team that he getting ready to play against and the weather, they're going to be huge factors. My thing is, I think that what DeMeco Ryans has done with the Houston Texans, man, is amazing. And like you said, he will be the coach of the year. I think it's no other way around it with him not being the coach of the year. But Lamar Jackson, that squad, that nucleus that they got, and it's my understanding Mark Andrews is active. So that's just another weapon that he just got at his disposal. So that's going to really, because likely it was already came in and did what he was doing. But I think if the Texans want to have a chance, one, they're going to have to limit Lamar's ability to run, because, Lamar just not dangerous with his arm, but he's dangerous with his legs as well. So they got to stop that. They're going to have to create some type of turnovers, because with the Ravens lost 4 games, I think 4 games this year. 2 other 4 games that they lost was because they had more than 2 turnovers. So if they get some turnovers, then that can help them out. The other thing is that they got to figure out how to keep C.J. Stroud upright, because that defense, they coming. They one of the most blitzing team in the league, as well as the secondary is pretty good too. So those are some things that DeMeco gonna have to think about. I looked at a video earlier this week. DeMeco actually that interception that Chris Harris got last week, that pick 6 on Flacco, he called it the play prior to. He told Chris Harris, this is the play they finna run. Christian Harris, just the play they finna run. And then when look at the quarterback and jumping, and that boy ran that thing in for a pick 6. So I think they got a defensive mind that got to come in and I'm gonna have to send you the clip, man. But it's crazy, man. He called it right before, and it happened.
That is awesome, man. So that lets you know that the coach is always watching the game. That lets you know that the coach is able to check himself to make sure that I have the ability to make in-game adjustments. That is going to be a great added benefit for Houston, because for them to have a shot, as you mentioned, they're going to have to create a couple of turnovers on defense, throw a couple of wrinkles at Lamar and see if we can create a turnover. And they're going to have to out-coach the Baltimore Ravens. And now DeMeco Ryan is a very, very, very astute defensive-minded coach. Now, the Baltimore Ravens have an offensive coordinator this year that has proven over the past couple of years in his previous job that he can produce some things on the offensive side or create some things on the offensive side that the defense is not aware of. Now, Lamar has had this year the best offensive team that he has ever had around him, even when he went 14-2 and was the NFL MVP several years ago. This offense is much better because it has many more weapons. You mentioned both tight ends that can change the game themselves. You have the run game with Edwards and Lamar, and we haven't even talked about the outside threats with OBJ and the speedster. So Baltimore has the offense to blow this game wide open if they are clicking. I saw in the comments that you'll be able to tell how this game is going to go in the first couple of minutes. I say the first drive and it doesn't matter which team is on offense. If CJ Stroud is under pressure in the very first drive, guess what? CJ Stroud going to be under pressure the majority of the game. If Baltimore has the ball first and they march right down the field and Lamar is able to run and pass, that's going to mean this game most likely is not going to be close. We shall see. Now, which one actually do you believe is going to happen is the question. I think that Houston is going to have the offensive success that they had last weekend against the Cleveland Browns, because whatever the offensive game plan that they implemented, that was a blueprint. I mentioned on Tuesday night show that the entire AFC North has the same type of defensive style, same type of defensive scheme, and a lot of them blitz similar to each other. But the difference is, the difference is the linebacking core for each team. And Cleveland's linebacking core is okay. Baltimore's linebacking core is one of the top three. All right, there's San Francisco, there's Baltimore, and then there's Tampa Bay with the top three linebacking cores in the NFL. And Baltimore, like you said, is going to blitz a lot. A lot. So they're going to try CJ Stroud quickly and a lot. So we're going to see that.
Let me let Mike. Hey, Mike, you might want to go check that out because Mark Andrews is actually activated. He's saying Mark Andrews is out. Don't be surprised, but what I will say, even if he's not playing, likely has been playing, bro. Now, somebody, I see somebody, Harold talks about Dalvin Cook playing as well. And he's probably going to get an opportunity. I didn't get a chance to see much of Dalvin this year, man, because Dalvin didn't do much with the Jets. So he got fresh legs. But you also got Justin Hill, you got Gus Edwards, you got Lamar. That you talk about Zay Flowers, you talk about you still got Bateman, you still got Aguilar, you still got LBJ. So, but the defense, the thing is, I'm thinking, I want to say that Humphries is out. I don't think Humphries is playing this game, but the Ravens have the ability a lot of times where they don't even have to send 4 people. So the linebackers get to sit back there too and play. So this is going to be a chess match, man. I just think that the Texans have to play a perfect game. They can't have no turnovers. They got to be able to establish a run game now. And where they probably the hole for the Ravens, it might be Schultz. CJ gonna have to get that ball to the tight end because that's one of the areas that he could probably exploit with the Ravens. It's the tight end position.
Yeah, you're exactly correct, man. The two ways for Houston to keep this game close is the tight end. Schultz is going to have to play a big role, and any other tight end going out in routes. And Houston and CJ Stroud taking deep shots. For you to beat the Ravens defense, you attack the back four. And with Humphries out, even though your guy Dale is out, you still have that CJ Stroud to Collins connection, and they have been humming over the past several weeks. So Houston is going to have to take several deep shots. I would say 1 or 2 per quarter, depending on how the flow of the game is going, to ensure that one of them going to connect. 1 or 2 of them is going to connect, which is it could be a difference maker to make sure that this game is close. And the later the game gets, and as close as it is, all bets are off. I don't care how good you are. People get tight. People get scared. People get nervous. That's when it real-time, big-time players start making big-time plays. So I am looking forward to this game this weekend. It is the first game of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So after all of that, who you think wins, man? And why?
I still select the Ravens, man. I think the biggest factor in this game, believe it or not, is the weather. And I mean, the weather, we've already seen what the weather done to some teams I don't care what type of speed you got and all other stuff. That cold weather will shut you down. And the Texans being a team that plays in the dome, moving up there to where game time is supposed to be 20 degrees, but with a wind chill factor, it's going to probably be in the single digits. It's going to play a big role in that game.
I'm glad you brought up the weather, man, for several reasons. On Tuesday night show, we talked about the weather was going to be a difference, and I believe it was Mike. Mike said in the comments that, man, Houston is 0 degrees down here in H-Town. They practicing outside right now. And I was like, yeah, if that continues to be the case all week, then great.
That ain't been the case, Drew. We had that for like 2 days.
So it was what, 83 degrees down there today? No, I'm just I don't know. But no, when the weather is cold, that's when the run game is really pushed up to the front. You have the best runner in the National Football League is Lamar Jackson. No one can break ankles better. And when it's cold, you're not as flexible. So we're going to see whether or not Lamar's running ability is the difference maker. I, too, agree with you that the home team better, for all those who are Ravens, take care of business against the Texans. Texans, like I said last weekend, had a phenomenal season. I believe this is the weekend that their season comes to an end. CJ Stroud is going to have a good game, a very good game, and he is going to be the face of this class of NFL quarterbacks, of this crop of NFL quarterbacks, right? Where you always have that one quarterback who's the face of that 3 to 4 year group. He is going to be the face of that 3 to 4 year group after this weekend's performance, especially based on last weekend's performance and this year's performance. But the Ravens should take care of business this weekend at home. I think they win by about 10. All right.
Hey, and if it come down to being a field goal, they got a Justin Tucker in their pocket.
Right. Only the best kicker in the history of the National Football League. All right. So we're gonna see, man. Go Ravens, go Texans. Let's see what you got. The next game that's up on the docket is the Pack is back. I thought the Pack was whack when they was going down to Dallas last weekend, but guess what? I guess I was the whack one because I believe the Cowboys was actually going to do what Cowboys do and take care of business, but the Cowboys did what the Cowboys always do. Anyways,
always gonna figure out a way to get my boys. And see, again, that's why we America's team. Again, you got the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers slide up, and you talking about the Cowboys.
Got nothing but love for you, baby. The San Francisco 49ers, man, the number one seed in the NFC, are welcoming in the Green Bay Packers. Like I said on Tuesday night show, just like the Cowboys and the Packers got history, these two teams have history, and you've seen it on all of the national sports shows all week. Going back to Brett Favre and Steve Young in the mid-'90s, right? Then going up through the Aaron Rodgers era and what they've done against the 49ers and Mike Shanahan over the past 15 years or so now. Even several years ago with Jimmy G, right? Going up into Green Bay against Aaron Rodgers, against the number one seeded Aaron Rodgers, where the roles were reversed. And the 49ers were the visiting team. And they shut down that number one seed, 13-3 Aaron Rodgers led Packers and sent them home after just one and done in the playoffs. Our guy, Jordan Love, that we did not believe in all year, take a team that found its footing last week in Dallas and shock the world when they go up to or San Francisco tomorrow night and actually not only be competitive, right? And we're going to talk about all of the weapons San Francisco got, but from the Green Bay perspective initially, can they actually have a chance to win this game?
Nope. And I'm just going to keep it real. I don't even want to sit up here and play this. Hey, I don't want to bring the Cowboys back into it, but this is what I will say. This 49er defense is not the Cowboy defense. No. This 49er defense has linebackers. One, they got linebackers. This 49er defense only have to send 4 people. That's what make them so daggone strong. They got them bookends with Bosa on one side, and then they got Chase Young on the other side. It's gonna be a long day, honestly, for Love, because he ain't gonna be able to do Aaron Jones. I don't see him having the game that he had against the Cowboys. Had safeties playing linebacker. That's why Aaron Jones was running that ball. It's gonna be Greenlaw. Man, it's gonna be a long day. Hey, I commend them. They beat us, but yeah. You can go ahead.
I have to agree, man. This is not the Dallas Cowboys defense. This is one of the top 2 defenses in the league. I still put them up against the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns and say that top to bottom, San Francisco has the number 1 defense of the league. I don't care what the numbers say, because that linebacking core is the best linebacking core. And man, when you got Chase Young on one side and
Bosa on the other,
Bosa on the other side, man, who gonna get to the quarterback first? And we talk about
all that meat and they got all that meat in the middle.
Yes, right. And we haven't even mentioned the best linebacking core with Warner and Greenlaw, and forget the other guy, but those back foot throws that Jordan Love was getting touted about. Hey, good job, man. You're one of the very few that has ever had the ability to throw off of your back foot and still be on target. That's gonna hit different this weekend when he tried that, because he's under pressure. You're gonna have a couple picks. You're gonna have a couple, might have a pick 6 on him like his team had on Dallas last weekend.
I'm just gonna tell you this. He wasn't on target in the Cowboy game. Man, the ball was hanging up there so long. But if you don't have a defender within 10 yards of the player,
True that. Let us forget. We cannot forget Dallas wasn't playing defense that day.
Man, they were still in the film room. Look, man, and that's another reason why. That's another reason why I feel like the 49ers is not trying to come in here and be embarrassed like the Cowboys was. And that's why I like the coach. That coach right there is Shanahan. Is that he that guy, man? He's that guy when it comes to his offense and his defense. And this dude, he takes chances, and he ain't gonna allow what happened in Cowboys, because he does not want to be the laughing stock where we're gonna have a slide up talking about who had another big collapse. I just don't see that.
Right. And I mentioned in CJ Stroud a couple of minutes ago about him being the face of a group of quarterbacks. Who's the face of the group with young coaches? It's Mike Shanahan and Matt LaFleur. They're very good friends. They know each other's tendencies. They kind of came up the same way through the same system. So they can predict what the other is going to do. And yes, the 49ers do not want to be embarrassed like the Dallas Cowboys were. They knew that the Cowboys should have won the game. They knew that the Cowboys were most likely going to do something to mess it up, but they do not want to get caught slipping either, right? Because they know that we only have to look at just several years of recent history to know that the number 1 seed doesn't guarantee that you're going to take care of business. You actually have to show up and take care of business. Now, we've gone 5 minutes talking about this game, and we have not even mentioned all of the weapons that are on the offensive side for the San Francisco 49ers that are going to just run up and down the field, right? You have, and I saw in the comments, 31-17, Michael. No, I don't think that's going to happen, Mike. But somebody said that if Brock Purdy throws a couple of interceptions or turns the ball over, it could be a different story. Yes, but if it seems like Brock Purdy is being pressured, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got Debo, you got Brandon Ayuk that can all do end arounds, to where you don't even have to have the quarterback throwing the ball. We do remember that Mike Shanahan had a NFC title game won by a quarterback that threw 8 passes, Jimmy G.
And in this year, Brock Purdy has thrown the least amount of passes among all quarterbacks this year. So if it get to the point where he's doing that, trust and believe, that joker gonna line Debo up in the backfield. He gonna line Ayuk. He gonna put Christian. Green Bay ain't standing a chance, bro. I mean, y'all can go ahead and I hope y'all screenshot this. It'll probably be gonna be a snippet. Green Bay does not stand a chance. The Cowboys then fooled them. The Cowboys gave them some rat poison.
You see that, Latrice? Griff is doing it as well. Latrice said, I'm putting emphasis on every doggone when I mentioned the Cowboys, man. No, I'm not. I'm just highlighting that y'all had higher expectations than where you're currently sitting, which is where you and I are sitting. Latrice is on the couch. Now, this game, we mentioned that the San Francisco defense is going to apply a lot of pressure and going to make life unhappy for Jordan Love. We mentioned that the San Francisco offense has so many weapons that it's not realistic for Green Bay to even show up on Sunday. They should just mail it in, just say, all right, man, y'all better than us. We going to take the L. No, that's why you play the game on the field and not in the media or on paper. So what do you think? I know you said at the very beginning, Green Bay has no shot. But let's say, for instance, Brock Purdy does throw a couple of pick sixes, or at least one pick six, has a repeat performance of what Dak did last week, throw an early interception in their red zone and or pick six, and San Francisco goes down 14, and Green Bay is feeling themselves. How does their defense stop San Francisco's offense?
Well, here's the thing. If that happens, you know the 49ers is 1-3 when they have 2 or more turnovers. So if that should happen, it might be ugly, man, because again, now the 49ers got to go off script. They got to go completely different from game plans. And like you just said, when that happens, teams start to get a little antsy, get a little nervous. Me personally, I just don't see it happen. I don't see Shanahan putting Purdy in a position where that's going to happen. I think they're going to get a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey, as well as some Debo, some in arounds and stuff like that, and throw when they need to throw. And you didn't even say nothing about George Kittle, because that's going to be another weapon that we ain't talked about. So if Green Bay got a chance, they got to run the ball like they was able to do against the Cowboys. That's one, to keep Purdy and that offense off of the field. And then they're going to have to capitalize when they do get turnovers. It can't be a field goal game, and they can't have any turnovers if they're going to win this game.
I got you, man. So, Joey, no luck of the Irish. No 4-leaf clovers in the Green Bay pockets. We both believe that the San Francisco 49ers will not only defend home field, but will defend that ranking, making sure that the road to the Super Bowl goes through San Francisco or the Bay Area. So we both have San Francisco winning this game. How close it's going to be, closer than the experts think. San Francisco, I believe, is favored by 11 points or so. I could see it being 14 plus, but I could also see it being a late score to separate each team. Just depends on which big-time players are making those big-time plays at those appropriate times. If Brock Purdy slips, can Green Bay make it interesting? We shall see. The next big game. Man, my computer just went out.
We see you.
The game of the year. I don't care what nobody say. Every time these two teams link up, the game of the year. Can Josh Allen actually do it this time? Can he exercise those demons that he has never been able to beat Patrick Mahomes when it really counts? He got 3 victories in the regular season, but in playoffs, heartbreak. They're at home. They're favorite. But, man, do you ever bet against Patrick Mahomes and Mr. Reed?
It's too, man.
Jake from State Farm would say, don't do it. Jake from State Farm would tell you don't do it.
Yeah, man. It's kind of hard, man, to say that he got a chance. But I'm going to say if he ever had a chance, this is the chance. The way the Chiefs been playing this year, and I know, Miles, I ain't got nothing but love for you, Miles, but the way the Chiefs been playing this year, their offense is still suspect. The last couple of games, you've seen a few remnants of an offense. But if the Bills really want to win this game, they got to take advantage of the home field advantage, but they also got to – Josh Allen can't afford it to be no turnovers in this game. And, he leads the league in turnovers. He leads the league in touchdown, but he also leads the league in turnovers. He got I think he had 25 rushing touchdowns. No, 15 rushing touchdowns, 29 passing touchdowns. But he also has like 18 interceptions. And he loves sometimes pushing the ball where it don't need to be. And so utilize his leg. Hell, they won a game this year where he only had, matter of fact, they won a game where he only had what? Was that against my Cowboys? Where he only ran for
he only threw for 8 or 9 passes.
He threw for less than 80 yards.
Ah.
So I think if it's gonna be a year, I think this is the year. I think it's gonna be a good game. Like you said, it's probably gonna be the closest game of the weekend. This one gonna probably be decided by a field goal, to be honest. And who make the least amount of turnovers. So let me see what Miles say. What if they go into overtime and Buffalo gets the ball first score and Kansas City score? See, now you going back to an old game. You living in the past, Miles. But I would say this. If they go into overtime, your team going to win. The Chiefs, if this game going to overtime, I'm putting my money on Patrick Mahomes. If it make it to overtime, I'm putting I'll put my money on Patrick. But I don't see this game going into overtime.
No, right. This is as they say, going to be one of those games for the ages, right? Because there's either going to be a defensive struggle or both teams are going to have a lot of offensive success. I know it's going to be cold. It's going to be 6:30 in the evening.
They both can play in the cold,
right? Both of them are cold weather teams. The wind coming off of that, as they say, Grinny would say, the river or the lake. Is going to have an impact, and it just depends on how strong the wind is, if there is any wind or snow, and how it affects the game. It's about mindset. It's about whether or not you believe that this is your year and you actually go and show it on the field. Because, to be honest, both of these teams kind of mirror each other. Neither one is significantly better or even slightly better than the other team this year. They both had their struggles. They've both gone through periods throughout this year to where they just could not spell W. They could not spell victory, like they were rappelling off of that Jackson Tower. Victory starts here, as they say. Remember that?
Yeah.
So it's going to be whether or not Trayvon Diggs and Josh Allen are finally going to get over that hump. And it seems that this year, the best quarterback in the National Football League has found a late season connection with a rookie, with Mr. Rashid Rice.
Yeah.
You always have the connection with Kelsey, who is the best tight end in the league. So Kelsey is going to eat, right? And he's going to ensure that he is focused on catching and securing the ball before turning and running. And no defense has ever been able to figure him out. So no defense can come up with a scheme now that is going to be able to stop the Mahomes to Kelsey connection. So look for that success. And the difference maker is going to be the run game for both teams. Whether or not Josh Allen has the ability to run on that stingy Kansas City defense, because according to Miles, Chris Jones going to feed on Josh Allen. So we're going to see.
They was pretty successful the last time they played. Now, if you remember, the thing that hurt in the Chiefs lost the game. This is the game where Tony was called lined up in the neutral zone.
Offside.
And they ran the trick play. But right. Cook was able to run on them. Cook was able to run the ball. Josh Allen is going to get his yards. Pacheco I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Pacheco on the Kansas City side. You're going to see a heavy dose of Cook on the Bills side. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle, and I can see this game being decided by 3 points at the end of the game. I don't know what the line is, but I see 3 points.
I definitely agree. It's going to be a 3-point or less final score difference between the two. All right, now we've talked about what each offense has to do. What does each defense have to do real quick before we predict who we think is going to win this game?
Not allow the quarterbacks, keep the quarterbacks in the pocket. Both of these quarterbacks have the ability, once they get outside of the pocket, to hurt you. And so if you really want to win this game, you want to control the game. Everybody talking about I'm living in the past. But if you want to, hey, you're going to have to be able to control these quarterbacks, keep them in the pocket. And the team that can do that is going to be the team that wins.
All right. I concur. But more specifically, it depends on the Kansas City defense. I won't say which defense needs to do this or do that because, like you mentioned, both quarterbacks has the ability to escape and get out of the pocket and create big chunks of yardage for their team. But to me, the difference maker is going to be the Kansas City defense. They cannot allow Josh Allen to have 50-plus yards rushing. They cannot allow Josh Allen to have 30 yards rushing because if he has more than 30 yards rushing, that means the offense is moving up and down the field because he feels that I can get it when I need to, right? And if you can keep Josh Allen under 30 yards rushing, you have a very good formula on defense to manage the game to where you are putting the best quarterback in the National Football League, the best tight end in the National Football League, and one of the top 3 coaches of the National Football League in a position to where I don't care where we playing, whether it's at our house in KC or at Orchard Park, we are the defending Super Bowl champs. We should be favored, and we are going to win this game because Miles said he either going to be watching the game next weekend or he's going to be watching basketball. Yeah, I personally believe that Miles is going to be watching a game where the Kansas City Chiefs are in their 6th consecutive AFC title game because I believe you can never bet against Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Jake from State Farm. Some way, somehow, they gonna get it done.
You left out Taylor Swift.
Taylor too big for me, Mike.
I got the Bills, man.
This is gonna be a good game. I believe that it's gonna come down to one of those last-minute drives by whoever has the ball last. I pray, Lord, I pray for those of you that pray that the referees don't F this up. But hey, guess what?
The man was lined up in the neutral zone, man. Hey, it ain't our fault Tony was offside.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying by making a bad call like they usually do. So
you're right,
you're going with the Bills. Good pick. I'm going with the Chiefs because you never bet against Patrick Mahomes. And I just believe on a cold Sunday night, he going to send some people back home to Buffalo to a long, cold, miserable winter and hearts broken. I'm just saying. All right, on to the Buccaneers and the Lions closing out the show. The Buccaneers traveling up to a warm dome up in Detroit where those who are in the state of Michigan, what up, though, as they would say, are ready for this game because they have been looking for this game for the ever time. Way back when. Last time they were in the playoffs was 1991. That didn't end so well for them back then, but now they have hope. And they have a good team, bro.
They do.
They have a good team. Now, Tampa Bay has found some newfound life, right? They got one of the best defenses in the National Football League. We know that defense travels. They have a top 10 receiver in the National Football League in Mike Evans, and then you got Goodwin on the opposite side. Who is a top 40 receiver and can be a game changer himself. Their running game is coming for him. Baker Mayfield is playing like he is fighting for the Heisman Trophy again. Does Tampa Bay got a shot to actually go up there and take the lion out of the lion den and claim the title themselves?
Again, like we say, any given Sunday, anybody can do it, but I don't think we got a good look at the Buccaneers because they played against that other collapsing team. And so we already knew, and I told you that other collapsing team was going to get beat, and they did. I think the Buccaneers have a great team, man, especially when it comes to the running game. But here's the thing. Detroit has a great running game, and they running backs are better, getting Gibbs on the outside. They're going to have to be able to stop that because Gibbs is dangerous, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well. So that's going to be a problem for Tampa Bay. Vita Bader and them guys is big up front, so it's gonna be kind of hard for Montgomery and them to hit, get up the middle. But then you got Laporta, man. You got daggone Williams, and then you got St. Brown. Them guys playing at an all-time level. But if anybody, the thing the Buccaneers have to do is be able to get pressure on Josh, because that's what the Rams was not able to do. The Rams didn't really get that much pressure on Goff this past weekend. If the Buccaneers can get some pressure on Goff, everybody know that he get them happy feet and some stuff. But if he can sit up back there, Jared Goff is one of those guys that will pick you apart, man. And he showed it last week against the Rams. So
that he did.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. That's St. Brown. St. Brown played with a chip on his shoulder because he said he remembered the names of everybody that got picked before him. Tampa Bay do have a running game, Troy. So Troy asked the question, does Tampa Bay have a running game? Actually, they got Zaire White. I think he played at the University of Georgia. He didn't rush for over 100 yards in like the last 4 or 5 games. So he just emerged. They pull him off that side, so he does have a running game. The Buccaneers, the saving grace for the Buccaneers, though, is Detroit defense, as good as it is, it has not really been able to stop teams either, though. That's one of the reasons why teams have been in the games against Detroit and gave up a couple of games this year because of that defense. And it's that secondary was the problem. Hutchinson can put pressure on people on the edge, but he don't have that many sacks either. So we'll see, man. Baker, Baker gonna be on commercials next year. He'll have his commercials back. But I still think Detroit gonna win this game, and I see them winning this game by a touchdown.
Okay, all right. Well, you said a whole lot there, man, and I agree with a lot of it. Some of it.
They got a White.
Huh?
My bad. I'm beating up Troy, man. If it ain't Zaire White, I know the guy's last name is White. That's the running back for the Buccaneers. Google it, Troy.
I know, Mr. Late Guy.
Got a 48-56 for him.
You're getting scoring for showing up on your own time, right?
Yeah.
It's my time and my dime. Troy say, don't nobody care, Troy. No, you made a lot of good points as to why you believe the Lions shouldn't win this game. And I've mentioned that Tampa Bay has a very good defense several times throughout this show. I've mentioned that we all know defense travels. So look for Tampa Bay to have just as many blitzes dialed up as Baltimore is going to have dialed up. But Jared Goff can't pick you apart like you said. The front seven for Tampa Bay is very fast. But that 1-2 punch that you mentioned with Gibbs and Montgomery, there are gaps to where you can create. Right? You just slide to the line left or right, and you create holes right up the middle. So I look for the Detroit Lions to have a lot of success in the run game. That is how they are going to win this game if they win this game. And it's not going to be because of Goff and the passing game. For Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Godwin, and that run game that they have on the Tampa Bay side, it is whether or not you can be effective to keep up with the Detroit offense. Yes, you mentioned that the Detroit defense has some gaps and they can be exploited, but let us not forget that if not for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating a 2-15 team 9-0 in the final game of the season, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs. So let's not say, I'm worried about Tampa Bay offense as much as I'm worried about the Detroit offense. No, I am not. And for that reason and that reason alone, I am leaning towards the Detroit Lions to not only win this game, but they're going to win this game comfortably. Because like it was mentioned in the chat, this is their year in the NFC side, right? To go well beyond what they had imagined coming into their season. They believe that they can make it to the NFC Championship game. And then once you make it to the NFC Championship game, all bets are off. Anything can happen, right? Because any freak accident at any moment or injury throughout the game can change the entire way a game is being played by any team. So I think that the Detroit Lions, I'm in agreement with you, that are going to take care of business this weekend in the 3 o'clock hour on Sunday against the Buccaneers. Congratulations. I will say to the Buccaneers that they had a good year, but their season should be coming to an end this weekend. Baker Mayfield going to have that new contract, right? Because he's going to be back for the Buccaneers after this year. He was playing for his NFL starting future, and he did a very good job this year. He got his team to the playoffs, got a playoff win. Could sneak in there and get two. They have a shot, but I don't think they win this weekend. So I agree with you, man. So que sera for the Buccaneers, and we'll see Baker sleeping in his pajamas down there in the Tampa Bay Stadium instead of the Cleveland Stadium next year. Hell. All right, man. We've come up to the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. Griff, you got any parting shots for the
I'm like
audience that we have?
I'm like Russell Simmons, man, on Def Comedy Jam. Thank y'all out for coming. Good night. No, man. Hey, as always, my brother, I always look forward to coming on here with you on Tuesday and Friday. A big shout out to the RoundTable. As always, man, y'all make this show what it is. I look at the comments, and even though I don't get a chance to respond to every last one of them, but I see y'all. Man, I'm glad that y'all enjoy yourself going back and forth. And I just want to say congratulations to Troy, because he just showed up. He was late, and there's a 48-56 coming your way. Congratulations, Troy. Your team made it.
Troy, like, man, let me live.
Yeah, I am showing my age for real. Look, they just had that 25-year anniversary. Hey, they need to bring Def Comedy Jam back. That's the tree said I'm showing my age.
Oh, right. Hey, it's nothing wrong with showing your age, man. Aging gracefully is a blessing. That's what they say. But I echo your comments and sentiments, man, for a heartfelt thank you to the entire RoundTable audience for joining us tonight. Like I said, hopefully your week or your team is still in this one of those top 5 teams that you listed back in week 3 or 4 when we had that poll about who were your 5 favorite teams. And the team that you are pulling for this weekend, I hope they do well. But like I said, the Ravens, the 49ers, the Chiefs, and the Lions will be playing next weekend. They will not be out in Cancun. They will not be fishing. They will not be on vacation because they are going to win their games this weekend. As they say, argue with yourself about it if you disagree.
It ain't what they say. They say argue with your mama. That's what they say.
Yeah, I know that, but I wasn't gonna say argue with your mama. I'm not gonna be that disrespectful. But thank you all for joining us on this Friday night. Y'all have a safe and blessed weekend. Do something nice for yourselves, as you should always do. Please do something nice for your family, and also do something nice for somebody you don't even know, because yes, it is a crazy world out there. Be bold. Make an impact. Try to be beautiful with yourselves. Y'all be breezy.